Yeah, should be good to go. So anyways, what were you saying?
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
You guys have a nice setup.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
the Brainstorm Agency. So
Brainstorm,
shout
I
out to
like
them.
it. Awesome, man. Yeah, I didn't even know this. I didn't know. I'm kind of glad you guys reached out because I've been in this journey too of kind of your guys' motto is level up
Hmm.
Russellville. So I've been in this journey this past year of trying to level up obviously my company, but also people around me, especially in the Clarksville area. So,
Yeah,
you know, I feel like this is God's timing. Everything's kind of quick, I'm always on the road, so
yeah, man.
it's almost surreal being here.
Dude, when I saw like your brother-in-law. For a minute, I keep thinking cousin. Your brother-in-law when he commented, your business. When I was looking at you guys, I noticed something that I don't see a lot with businesses, which is you had a YouTube channel, like a bunch of videos on there, and some pretty decent editing and like drone footage and stuff. And that's just something you don't see from like maybe some of your competition. So
Right.
that's what got me looking at it. I was like, these guys are doing something that a lot of your competition isn't. So what got you into like investing time and resources into a YouTube channel? And has
On
that
there,
paid off for you?
I guess I'll give a background on myself. You asked me earlier where I was from, where I live. So I was born in Texas, Houston area, and we moved down here when I was about a year old. So the River Valley is home to me. Like all my family's here, and my sister, she was born here. But I went to school in Clarksville, graduated there, did some college years as law enforcement, believe it or not.
Really? Did you go to Ozark
I
or?
went to the Take of Ozark campus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did that. Uh, so kind of my whole journey started in a selling position. So after throughout high school, I was always trying to like make $1 or two. I never played sports. I tried sports, but I was never good at it. So like my hobby was always trying to make money.
Mhm.
So throughout high school,
What were you doing in high school to make money?
So at this, like when I first started working, I was 13 years old, and little stuff that I was doing. I think they still have it now, but in the summer you can go and pick blueberries,
Mhm.
like, and they'll pay you like by the tub.
Somewhere in Clarksville, does that?
Somewhere in Clarksville, yeah, like there's farms out there where it's labor work. You go and you pick out blueberries, and they pay you like $2 for like a tub, So that's what I was doing. I did that for like, honestly, I did that for a couple of days because I was like, man, there's better ways to make money. So at that time, my cousin, she opened up a ice cream shop, and she was like, hey, I need help. So I started, just helping her kind of build it in a way. So that's kind of what I did because obviously, like, you can't work until you're 16,
Mhm.
and that was kind of my startup. At the time, I didn't know. Like now, I consider myself like an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
and this is because I'm 27 right now, so this is about, this was 13, 14 years ago, and so so I went to, I was going to the school and to working. And then after that, I thought I wanted to go to college to be a policeman.
How did
So
that go?
it didn't go too good, man. That was whenever the whole like politics was going on, like with the shootings and stuff. So, it was just something that like I wasn't interested in.
Oh, when things. Well, so what year would that have been? Like
That would have been
2016,
2015.
2015.
That would have been 2015. And then after that, too, I was working full time and going to school full time. And that year, I had to pay my full like college semester because at the time I was making over than what they could kind of help you with.
Mhm.
So that was a big opener for me to just kind of like do my own, just kind of go and work full time and just see kind of what it'd take me to. So after there, I had, just factory jobs working here and there until I found a sales job selling cars here in
Really?
Clarksville. Yeah, at the time it was Johnson Chevrolet.
Okay.
I sold new cars and used cars there.
I tried to get one of those jobs once when I was like 19.
Yeah.
They did not.
They
I
did.
would have been horrible at it. But were you good?
I was,
Nice.
I was because I wouldn't say I was good, but I've always had that like ambition to try, so, and then right there you're on commission. So kind of whatever you put in the effort, that's your return.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where everything was real. I was at a high school, at a college. I guess it would have been like my first real career job. You could quote that.
How'd you, just to like explore that a bit more, how'd you learn sales? Did they teach you, or were you reading books, watching videos?
So this was 2016 when I went in there. I pretty much taught myself everything. Like I went in there and they gave me this 1980s selling guidebook, and I was like, dude, this isn't gonna work. Like, this is 2016 at the time. So at that time, I started really investing in myself. Reading books, taking sales courses, like doing seminars online for selling.
Who did you like get into? Whose courses were you taking? Do you remember?
Yeah, there was two. So one of them, he's the name of the course is called Psychology. And actually, what's really crazy is that guy, he lives in Atlanta, but I want to say his wife is from Russellville.
Really?
Yeah, she went to take, because one time I messaged him like, hey man, like you're putting out good stuff, and I guess he's seen I was from this area, and I want to say his wife went to tech here.
Wow.
Yeah, so I took a couple of his courses and he was kind of starting off new, because this is whenever like social media was kind of taking off. So that course really taught me self-branding. Like that's kind of that main course was just self-branding, So at this point, I was 18 years old, 19 years old, selling cars with seasoned salesmen, like people 2 to 3 times older than me. So I started really pushing social media, and you can find, I never took my social media down, Facebook, you can find it. It's called Andy at Whitson Morgan. Andy at Whitson Morgan.
Andy at Whitson Morgan.
Or I know you could do like a hashtag. I want to say it was called Andy Sells Cars. So it's something like that.
How many cars do you reckon you sold?
I was averaging, once I got like to my prime, you could say, I was averaging 11 cars a month.
11 cars a month. Is that, I know nothing about selling cars. Is
Here
that good?
in a small town, that's decent, nice. And that dealership, I was number one from being like the youngest, like the least experienced. But you had guys there that were 40, 50 years old, and they had been selling for 20 years. So they just had repeat customers. And I started, that course, that's really what taught me self-branding. It really, that's kind of what I got from it. And then kind of from there, I've just kind of, took it on to other businesses. Because I've had other little ventures too.
What is self-branding? Like, if we can explore that concept for people listening, and for me.
So self-branding is basically like, you work under a dealership, you work under a company, and when you're in sales, you're off commission and you're really trying to put yourself out there. So self-branding basically is more like well, that's the wording, really focusing like on yourself.
What was your brand then? Was that like, how did you actually, what were the things you did to develop it? Was it the social media?
The social media, I would do stuff like hashtags, like Andy's your car guy, stuff like that. I would post pictures. I would have my own. I would give out like my own merchandise, not from the dealership, but from my own.
Well, like what were you? I guess you also have brought some merchandise here today.
Yeah,
so it's the
man.
same
So it's kind of the same. Everything I've kind of learned, back 8 years ago, 10 years ago, has just been like a steady. It's been in the works, just one step after another. But the same, kind of what I brought you here, it's kind of the same, if you want to open it up and
let's open it up at the end and see what's in it.
Okay. Well, yeah, basically that's what self-branding was, just branding yourself, putting yourself out there, because you're going against, and this can apply if you're selling furniture, cars, if you're selling washing machines, because I know they all work off commission, but if you kind of stick out, well, it's like social media. If you're out there, you're gonna have that. You're gonna gravitate towards certain people.
Was it like a competitive environment at the dealership?
Oh yeah.
Were y'all friends, or was it more like?
No, we were
opponents?
friends. Like actually, that dealership was very. It wasn't as much like kind of cutthroat as because it's small town. Kind of everyone knows everyone. But it was very competitive, because at the end of the day, you're working for a paycheck, and we're all on commission. So if you don't sell, you don't make money.
But there wasn't like any stealing leads or dirty things happening.
I'm sure there was,
But not with you.
But I was never, I've never been the type to like kind of like, sit down and just kind of, sob about it. I'd be like, okay, well, how can I create my own leads? And that's kind of where self-branding is. That was my main thing, because to answer your question, there was like dirty plays, So the self-branding, I did that to generate my own leads.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, man. That's a good point. So moving on from the car dealership, I guess like you said, you've been carrying these self-branding lessons, the sales lessons. And I guess, is that what got you into the YouTube end with Andy's buildings? No,
so in the YouTube, I got into it, when I was selling cars. I was around 18, 19 years old when I got into this building business. That there had been about a 5-year stretch in between that. But to answer your question, how I got into YouTube was, there's a lot of competition, especially here in this region on buildings, like there's a lot. So again, I've always been trying to look ahead, how I can generate my own leads, how I could, just be different. So that's kind of how I got into YouTube. No one at the time, because we've been doing YouTube now, I want to say 2 years. And no one at the time in this business had done YouTube videos. So I know just kind of throwing something out there like new for this audience would really create something.
Did it work?
It has. It's actually, just like everything, it takes time, but it has worked, because now, we have solid clients to where, because the buildings we sell, they're like shops. Mm-hmm. And nowadays people are turning them into bardominiums. So, when you're going to spend $50,000 and up on a metal home, you're going to take that time to research. Mm-hmm. So it has worked, because it gives us a little bit better, it gives us a little bit better prestige, you could say.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Like, it adds meat to the bone, right?
It does.
When you look up Andy's buildings, like, you can see credibility, really. Like, hey, they've actually completed projects. They have a ton of videos. even if you're not posting regularly, like you've got all of that work done now. I think that even if people aren't saying, "Hey, I'm here because of this video," I definitely think it's helping you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that has been credibility also, like you mentioned. There's a lot of companies out there, and we just want to do our best from point A to point Z. And if we can show them that we're the company, that's better for them and us.
So buildings, man, how did you like? As someone I've never built a building, like, do you custom design each one? Have you designed, like, how does that process work? How did you get the blueprints? Did you buy them? Did you design them yourself? How does that work?
Okay, so how you're asking how I started in a way, or more how the actual
Either one.
process works?
Yeah, like, just like what would you want me to know if I was interested in getting a building from you? Like, how does that process work? If I had an idea for how I wanted my shop to be, do I get to work with you on that? Do you have like packages on different design styles I get to choose from?
Yeah, so basically we would have an appointment, create an appointment, and then you would come to my office, or we could do a Zoom call, and we have a program where I could pretty much design a building exactly how you want it, with the colors, with the windows, with porches, and then kind of go from there, And while I design it, I'm pricing it out also.
How'd you learn that? Did you just teach yourself one day?
Yeah, basically, teaching myself, and it's just principles and skills that I've developed on my own, because it was never like, oh, do this, like I'm always kind of on the go trying to learn. I have a son, he's 4 years old, so I'm trying to teach him the just put yourself out there, and teach yourself, because no one, you're going to have people that care about you, but I believe no one is really going to take that initiative, especially from yourself.
100%. 100%. I also have a son, he's 3, so right behind yours. Some things I'm going to teach him as well. But yeah, nobody's going to give it to you for sure. In school, like, did you feel like school set you up for success? Like, what was school like for you? Like high school, middle school, going up through it?
So I was always I wouldn't say loner kid, but I was always just kind of kept everything to myself in a way. I mean, I still had friends. I'd always talk to them. People would come up to me, talk to me, but if it was kind of not something that I was interested, I'd just kind of go my own ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, middle school was just kind of middle school. I was always trying to, like, okay, well, after this grade, what's going to happen type of deal, Like, I've always kind of looked at life in stages, and in that stage really try to learn and grow from that. So I do have a story, a sales story on I didn't know I was gonna pretty much be like and I'm throwing out sales a lot because that's like my main focus, and I have a couple interns that they've came and intern because they ask, hey, how is selling like and stuff. So I really want to teach them how, or show them the real sales world,
Mm-hmm.
But
so to ask you like about sales before we go into that story, have you ever heard of gap selling?
Gap selling?
Yeah. Have you? It's this book that I read about sales. Like, if you could just describe sales, like the right way to do it in like a few sentences, like what is sales for that person listening? Because is it just selling things? Like, hey, buy this. What is it?
No, so it's like cooking. So
It's
like cooking. So if you're gonna cook, like you're gonna need a certain recipe, which that recipe is a process, right? And it's like selling. If you're gonna sell, you're gonna need a selling process, a recipe. So basically, there's a sales cycle, and and there's 6 steps to that, and if you can pretty much master that, you can pretty much sell anything. Well, I want to not really like, I tell my intern, he's like, I get people like, hey, teach me how to sell, like what can I do? But it's not nothing like I tell them something crazy and then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna buy from you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a process that kind of takes place. And
do you do a discovery process? Is that part of it? Like learning about that prospect, that person may be interested in buying, like maybe why they're wanting a building. Do you use any of those tools? Like, what are your 6 steps?
So first step is prospect, and it goes back to that. We can dig deep onto it. So it's prospect, prepare an approach, pitch, handle objections, and then selling. Mm-hmm. So the first one is prospect. You got to find your market, who you're going to market to, finding the right leads. So once you find that, the next step, in this case, the building is, obviously our market is, 26, 27-year-old clients and up. And then so that's our target. From there, the second step is prepare an approach. So by that is everything, the branding, making sure we have 5-star reviews, making sure we're basically qualified for them as well. And obviously, like, educating yourself on what you're selling, and then the third one is going to be, pitch the idea, pitch what you're selling. And then so from there, and all these, like, we can break down and go from there, kind of what you're selling. And then the fourth one, handle objections. So those are like, hey, I can't buy because of this. Then there's always gonna be an objection. So if you can master that, you would just kind of keep going through the cycle until that sale is closed up, and then do it again.
Yeah.
And I feel like, when the selling, like, I wasn't taught that, and I sold cars. It was stuff that I taught myself. Mm-hmm. And if I would have learned that quicker, I'm sure I would have gone further quicker.
Tell me where this would fall into your steps, because there was this one sales call I was on with this company from Mexico, and they made rock climbing shoes. This was a couple of years ago. At the time, I was trying to market for e-commerce companies. That's what I did for a few years. Anyways, I was talking to him. He was, I think, the VP. He wasn't the owner of the company. But long story short, like, during what I called the discovery process, asking questions, more like under surface level questions, like what they're really trying to figure out, where they're trying to take the company, how they're trying to grow it. I discovered that they had some investors, right? He mentioned that to me. And they had this growth plan that they needed to meet. By this quarter next year, they needed to be at however many $1 million. And I asked them, like, are you guys on track to meet that? And he was like, no, absolutely not. And I asked him, well, what happens if you don't? And he basically, told me, it's kind of my job is on the line here. Figuring out those details really helped me. Kind of when it comes to like objection handling, like maybe after you do the pitch or whatever, after you present the price, because I knew, like, hey man, this is important to you. Like, how can we make this happen so you can meet those goals? And it's something that a lot of beginner salespeople, I'd consider myself close to a beginner, but those really beginner salespeople miss on, because they're just so focused. I don't know if you were like this when you first started, but you're just like, oh, here's the price, please buy it, because you don't know what you're doing. So as far as like figuring out those important details, what step would that? Is that kind of like step one, prospects, or?
Yeah, as far as like where they were at that point, or
yeah, maybe like why someone. I don't know. I've never sold a building, and clearly you have. So I'm curious, like, do you ever get to the point where you're asking your prospects figuring out, as you're just kind of casually, it doesn't have to be official, but casually talking to them like, oh, why are you wanting this shop? You know, maybe it's because they're trying to grow a business. Maybe you learn through that process why they started the business, if their wife supports it, those kind of things, or if whatever their goals are in life, so you can kind of use that, not against them, but really making sure they're doing the right thing, right? Is that something that, is that how do you sell a building?
Well, that process there, I wish we could have pulled up the the stages, because I have like a whole PowerPoint. Maybe I could share that with you sometime. But it's kind of that, like, just, with everything, with time, you pick up on things. It becomes second nature. So that's why I tell everyone, all my interns, it takes time. It's not from one day to another type of deal, But as far as that, and it's the little cues you pick up, So like I was saying, like, once you can understand that sales process, and I tell my sales team to really study that process, because each client is in a different stage. You can have someone, and we'll take it, pretty simple. Like, like this process can be used if you're selling shoes at a local shoe department. Prospect comes in, that's stage 1. 2, you prepare an approach, which is, you pretty much got to be presentable, and then approach them. And then the third one is qualify, asking questions. If, hey, what size are you looking for? What style? And then from there, pitch them. Like, hey, we carry all kinds of stuff. And then overcome an objection. What if they're like, hey, they're not, like they're a little too high? Then you could be like, hey, well, we got this budget, shoes, and then closing them. So it kind of ties into that, like really studying it, because everyone that comes in is on a different stage, You may have someone that is pretty much just, they don't want to hear your pitch. They know what they're looking for, but you got to be there. Yeah. Like, you got to be there. So, and it goes back to that, like, I'm a big, like, I try to use my energy as efficient as I can. So I'm not going to be, if a client comes in and he's ready to buy, I'm not going to be trying to see if he's qualified or not, and vice versa. So, and it goes back to that, because when you're in selling, you obviously want to like sell the most,
Yeah. So do you remember that sales story you said you had?
Yeah. So back in high school, I joined, like I was mentioning earlier, I never played sports, never, I tried sports, but wasn't never really good. And I joined this group. It was called Deca Club. And it's basically like a marketing class.
Is that something in the high school?
Yeah, in the high school. and at this point, like, I didn't even know what marketing was or anything. I was just doing it because you had to pay to be in this club, and like I could afford it, because I had a job at the time, and like they would take these, business trips, you could call them. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So I joined it because of that. So the teacher that took care of that, she was like, yeah, you can sell chocolates to pay for these trips. So at that point, I was like, yeah, like I'll give it a try, and like it goes back to that, like selling. So, and I didn't know it at the time. So I started selling these chocolate boxes for fun, just because I'm like, well, like I'm still going to pay for these tickets out of my pocket, but if I can sell something, that'll just be okay, So I started selling, these chocolates, and I had competitors, because there was other classmates that were selling them also. But I don't know if it was kind of one of them deals where, like, I seen that they were selling, so I was trying to do better, trying to, I guess, compete or just sell more. and I would come up with these little game plans. And now I look back and I was like, man, that was like the sales process. I just didn't know it. So what I would do is after each class, I would hurry up to my next class and sit and stand outside of the doors where like the teachers stand. So I was there every hour, So at first it wasn't like, yeah, you'd get a couple that would buy, but then a week went by, 2 weeks went by, and people would just like know that I was there like consistently, like I was there, So then I started getting clients. Like clients were like coming and buying. And then I remember like whenever I'd sell the most was before lunch because everyone's hungry. So I started getting these repeat customers, and then like I'd see them around the hallways and I'd be like, hey, you want one, And it goes back to that, like the whole process deal. So it got to a point to where I think that year I sold like 30 boxes. I sold 30 chocolate boxes, and each box had like 50 of them.
Wow. It's like you were already personally branding yourself,
Yeah, like
people thought about chocolate.
And it goes back to that, like I was doing that self-branding, because I was like, I need to do something different, like, something like stuff like that. So it came to a point where I had about 2 classmates that they were like, man, I just can't compete with you, like, here, take my chocolate, what I've sold, what I've raised, and you sell it. Like, you keep the money for your, like for your deal. And I was like, all right, yeah, that sounds cool. And from right then and there, I was like, man, like everyone is kind of buying off of me, So when the trip came and it was time to like kind of, get like basically pay for this trip, what I did is I pay everything that I sold. I mean, it went towards the trip. And then I was still shy because these trips were like $1,500, And back in high school, I mean, that was a good penny. So I think I was short a couple $100, but it wasn't a big deal because I was working and and living at home. So the difference, I bought it off chocolate because I was still gonna pay that amount. So I bought like $300 worth of chocolate, and I started giving them out to everyone at the school, but especially my repeat customers. And they were like, dude, is this like a trick? Like, what is it? I was like, no, like, here, take it, man. Like, take it. Like, that's just part of like kind of doing business with me in a way. So then, like, after there, every time I would sell, like, they would like just come back for more,
Yeah.
So
you mentioned that for business for you is like sales, basically, right?
Right.
How do you make sure that service delivery is like solid, right? Because you could be really good at sales and sell horrible buildings. It won't last long,
Right.
Reviews will happen. So, yeah, man, more about that. Like, how was the very first building you sold? Was it just as good as you're selling now, or was there a process of getting better?
No, so when I came into the building, like I knew the selling process, but as far as like the building, like actually dealing with like building contractors, like that's a whole other story, So yeah, like the first building that I sold, I mean, everything went good, because obviously I'm always trying to, deliver what we promise. We actually like over deliver on everything. So why? Because for stuff like that, I mean, the world isn't perfect. You're gonna have little cracks here and there. So if we can, promise something, then over deliver, and then when those cracks do happen, it'll pretty much be there on the point. And that's why, like, I'm glad to say, like, I want to say we're the only company here in Arkansas that we're like 5-star reviews for buildings. So,
Wow. So as far, how big is your team? You have some salespeople. You have contractors that you work with to
Yeah, so we
construct
have
everything.
yeah, so we have 5 building contractors, and then I have one salesperson, and then one secretary, and then
Wow.
myself. But at one point, not too long ago, actually, I was kind of doing everything, the selling and making sure stuff was getting done.
That's impressive, man. I've spoken to a lot of business owners, and a lot are at that stage where it's just them. They're not able to create leverage and like hire, delegate out people for whatever reason. So, you have anything to say to them? How did you get to this point? And not too long, as you said.
Like I've noticed that us humans, we do better around other humans. Like we need humans to grow. We need each other to grow. So a big skill that I developed was just understanding other people, especially people on my team, really listening to what they want, what their goals are. Like we have sales meetings every Tuesdays at 9:30. Why? Because I want to see what their goals are. I want to hear what their goals are, and it's exciting too. I mean, we are a team. We all make up one company. So I guess that advice would be, stepping back. There's been times where like I'm so focused on selling that the actual dealing with the staff, with the builders, it's easy to overlook, because that's what's gonna bring income in. So as an entrepreneur, you're always thinking like, am I gonna make it? Is it gonna work out? So it's always gonna work out, And even right now, like I constantly tell myself it'll be okay, but just there's skills you gotta develop, and everyone's different. So there's different ways to learn that.
So for you, was it pretty natural just stepping back and bringing in more people? Was it pretty easy for you?
It wasn't, it wasn't easy because when you're trying to do your best at everything, you want to have the best. You want to have the best team. But kind of what I'm learning now is just like building your team. I think I think everything starts with yourself. If you put out good examples, have them communication skills and basically just be that foundation. Everything else will pretty much happen on its own.
It's a good point. Something that I'm trying to work on too is like building that team, inspiring them, right? Leading by example. So those are good points, Andy. So I'm curious, what's maybe we should bring this box over.
Oh yeah, man. Let's
see how
it.
you. Do you have a knife on you?
I do not.
This is the personal branding exercise that you were talking about at the dealership.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, yes it is.
So I call those customer care packages.
Customer care packages. We'll put that. Customer care packages right there. And these are nice cups.
Oh yeah.
These are high quality ones. Nice.
Yeah, take them on.
Where do you get these made at?
I work with local companies here on all my marketing stuff, so I really do appreciate you having me on here because hopefully we can do something in the future. But there's a company out there, Bright Ideas, and they do all my engraving stuff.
Right, where are they in Clarksville?
They're in Clarksville.
Nice. So they engrave these cups and then the pins. You just get the pins and stickers online, or do they handle those too?
No, I get the stickers online.
Good stuff here, man.
All my embroidery, also a local company. They're out of Clarksville.
Do carports, RV covers, barns, storage buildings, commercial buildings, workshops to spray foam. What is the weirdest job you've done? Have there been any like just bizarre out of pocket buildings you've you've had
No,
to?
man. So actually, there's a lot of neat ones out there. We're always trying to innovate. That's kind of why we did the YouTube, because people are using them for like lots of cool things. We had one. A guy turned one into a laundromat.
Really?
Yeah, so that's like pretty cool. Just out of like it was just like a 30 by 30. So that one was one of them.
Are you trying to work with like buildings around the area, or do you travel all across the state to put
No,
this
so
together?
we actually cover Arkansas and all of surrounding states.
Wow.
Yeah, so we cover a big audience. We've even like touched, Illinois, south of Illinois, Georgia.
How do they
area.
find you from over there? Is it just the YouTube? They're just
Well,
researching.
we do like target ads too.
Okay.
Yeah, target ads. So right now I want to say we target 7 states. 7 states. So like this weekend we're in Dallas doing a bardominium, which that one's pretty cool. We'll go out there and shoot a video on it.
Yeah, people are like What are the ballpark people are spending on barn dominiums? Like, they look cool, but are they cheaper than like building a traditional house or?
A good ballpark for just the shell, right around 50,000,
Okay.
and that's for like 2,500 square foot.
What do you think about? We've been looking. Me and my wife we're looking at what we want to do, where we want to live. Modular homes. You have an opinion on this?
Modular, are those? Educate me on those.
So, from my understanding, there's manufactured homes, which are like trailers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mobile homes, not on a slab, but modular homes are on a slab, but they come in, I guess, pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes kit homes, almost, right? They get shipped to you. I didn't know if you were had done any of that before, but companies will, manufacture it in a factory in their shop, and then ship it to you, and they'll come out and they'll construct it in like a week or two on a slab. So it's not a. They look nice sometimes. They can look. Sometimes they're indistinguishable from a regular home.
Mm-hmm.
You have any thoughts on that?
No, like I've always said, there's a market for everyone.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are, if you guys really, want to go that route, just research the pros and cons on that.
So, yeah, for those listening, do you want to like just give a breakdown? We can clip this part too, like of just the services you offer and who is that person that you're the right fit for.
Okay, so we focus on our business motto is integrity. We actually have videos out there, real videos, and that's something that kind of was eye-opening for me, because these aren't scripted. They're raw videos, and they all use that word integrity. That we stick to what we were gonna say, and we took care of them from point A to point Z. And if you're looking for someone, for a company that's honest, and they're gonna show up when they say they are, they're gonna do right work, then we're that company.
Incredible, yeah. That's one thing that a lot of service industries, they won't answer their phone. I bet you're on your phone though. When you get a call, you answer it.
Oh yeah, because communication, as cliche as it sounds, communication is a key. It kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my staff all the time, when you're calling for, to inquire about anything, a car, and they don't answer, you're off to the next location. So like we need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be answering the phone calls, and like I said, life isn't perfect, so let's just reach out if we're not available. And we live in a modern world where it's send a simple text message, so there's kind of no excuse.
Mm-hmm. Well, Andy, is there anything else that you would like to hit on or talk about today? Anything you want to leave us with?
If you have any questions, feel free. I'm pretty much.
Yeah, we'll feel free to reach out if anyone's listening and they need a building, of course. Shout out to your brother-in-law for
Oh yeah, shout
making
out
this
to,
happen.
Yeah, to Edgar for
So well, I just want to touch on it for a second. He grows mushrooms, right?
He does gourmet mushrooms.
Yeah, gourmet mushrooms. Have you ever grown any mushrooms before?
I have not, man. No.
Have you seen his setup?
I have.
He said he would show me one of these days, but
I've seen
pictures online that
it's pretty
looks
nice,
like a legitimate farm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, and so Edgar, he's my brother-in-law, and he's the one that actually would do my videos, like my the video editing, because I always had everything kind of has worked in its own timing. At this point, I was looking for someone to like start that, and he was looking for a opportunity, so everything just kind of came in together, and then he went on his own now about 4 months ago, so that that makes me excited too, because he took a lot from this business, and hopefully he can apply it to his business.
Absolutely. Seems like you got yourself a family of entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Andy, for coming on. Andy's building's located in Clarksville. Phone number, if you're listening to the audio, is 479-324-5570. And actually, you're right there on East Main Street. As I was going to the airport the other day, I looked over. It was weird because it was after I saw you on Facebook. It's one of those things where when you learn about something, you start seeing it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you.